Yep. Fabulous. I'm going to quickly hand over to Hayley to officially start things off.
G'day Yarang everyone. How fortunate I am to be working at Taronga and how fortunate I am to come to work on this country, Camaragal country. I would like to acknowledge the Camaragal people, their country, their spirit and their traditions as customary owners of this land upon which we meet tonight and upon which Taronga stands. I pay my respects to their elders, past, present, enduring and emerging, and I would also like to acknowledge any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who have joined us here tonight. This is Camaragal country, where the land meets the sea, and between the earth and the sky, Angophora trees stand, and sandstone has strengthened for time immemorial. For more than 65,000 years, this land was a cosmopolitan highway. It was a place where mob and families would come travelling back and forth across country to meet and to trade, to share knowledge and to come together for ceremony and celebration. Taronga is proud and privileged to continue this experience of people coming together on country for connection, knowledge sharing and problem solving, just as we've come together here tonight for Hatch. This always was and always will be Aboriginal land. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hayley. My name is Jess Miller. I have the absolute privilege and pleasure of being your MC for tonight. I'd also like to acknowledge that we're on Camaragal land, but more so I'd like to remind everybody that reconciliation is a verb. It is an active thing, and in the spirit of that, I would like to shout out to the Gadigal from where I live, and in particular, a beautiful organisation called Wildflower that I've had the privilege and pleasure of working with lately, which is a local group of Aboriginal men, predominantly young men, who are doing caring of country in our streets as part of South Everleigh. And I think that if you haven't heard about them, to actively support our First Nations people, please Google them, follow them on Instagram, and get to know them and all sorts of other enterprising, fabulous, active First Nations businesses, leaders, people that we are fortunate enough to have in our lives. With that said, I decided to get involved in the Hatch program this year because my very good friend Belinda asked me to. It was a little bit of a quid pro quo. I've been lucky enough to work with some of the Taronga team as part of a new normal the last few weeks where we came up with this idea called Taronga Poo. You can read about that in your own time, but I think what makes Taronga so special is that it's one of those places that holds a very important kind of cultural and spiritual place in all of our hearts. Everybody can remember the first time they went to the zoo. Everybody has a story about the zoo. Coming from Melbourne, I remember as a little kid going to the butterfly enclosure and just being absolutely blown away with it. Coming to Taronga for the first time, I thought I wanted to see the gorillas, but I tell you what, it was the bird show that took my breath away. So it's fabulous to be here, and it's also so fantastic that Taronga is hosting a program like Hatch. We know that there are so many problems coming at us from all directions, social problems, environmental problems, but in the spirit of a place that inspires awe of people of all ages, it's so wonderful that Hatch is a program that brings together people who are throwing everything they have at all the problems. And frankly, that's what we need. We need all the people all at once, doing all the things at all the time. So all the kinds of smart, and really I think that is what today is a celebration of. And so thank you all for being here. Tonight you're going to hear from the 6 amazing initiatives that have participated in the 2024 Hatch program to learn more about their inspiring programs. You'll also get the chance to vote for your favourite initiative to win the People's Choice Awards. You are the people, it is your choice. We don't usually like to practice judgment, but today you certainly can. And I'm just so delighted that I get to be not only a housekeeper this evening, but this is probably the first and only time that I'll be a zookeeper. So as the keeper in the zoo doing the housekeeping, I'd like to remind you that the bathrooms are, if you're leaving out of this door, they're on this level. If you're leaving up the end, they'll be up there. If a lion comes or something else happens that is untoward, follow the people who look confident and capable. As much a lesson for safety as a lesson for life. So with that said, I'd like to introduce our first speaker, which is our wonderful and esteemed Taronga Zoo CEO, Mr. Cameron Kerr.
Aren't we lucky to have an MC like Jess? Good on you, Jess. Thank you so much for that. That was lovely. Look, I've been lucky enough to work here for 24 years now, a long time, as CEO just over 15 years. And to the point about being on Camaragal land here, we've had wonderful stories. A lot of the culture here is women's story and women's protocols on site here. It's saltwater country, it's bandicoot country, stingray country. And one of the lovely things is if you walk along the foreshore here, there's middens. Middens are where First Nations people, Camaragal people sat and ate Sydney rock oysters. And I was talking to our judging panel about that today. And what a beautiful place this has been, but cared for in a sustainable way for tens of thousands of years, as Jess and Hayley were talking about before. And the word reconciliation, Jess talked about it being a verb. One of the really important things that I think we can all work on, and certainly Taronga is trying hard, is to set ourselves goals, as all the teams do here. And some really important goals around closing the gap. We're post the yes vote, and what can we do now that empowers us all? And certainly, what are all the metrics around closing the gap as a great start towards that reconciliation process? But tonight is a night about community, just as reconciliation. And I think I get to do lots of events, and this is really one of the most exciting. Someone said, gee, you're looking pretty energised after a full day of judging. That's because I'm around really smart people that are full of energy, that are looking at focusing on complex problems. As Jess said, these are what we call wicked problems. There's no magic bullets out there. It doesn't matter what anyone tells you. There's no single answer to any of these complex issues. There's also no magic person or super leader out there that is going to solve these problems. Wicked problems or complex problems like the biodiversity crisis and the sixth mass extinction event, the silent extinction that's going on around us. It requires people like you, all the people in this room as supporters, as people working in the field, or even more importantly, people that aren't working in the field that want to be part of the solution. And that's what makes Hatch so exciting. It takes a community to raise a child, but it also, what gives me hope is it takes community, it takes smart people, and it takes a will to change things to really solve problems like the biodiversity crisis. And what we get to see at Taronga with all the Hatch presentations, all the submissions, of course, is smart people that are really determined, that are having a go in their own way. We were lucky enough to have Jane Goodall here last week, and she talks about raindrops. A single raindrop doesn't convert a desert, but a rainstorm in the beautiful Central Australian desert converts it into beds of flowers. And certainly everyone in this room, as a supporter of someone who is in Hatch or one of the people that are in Hatch themselves, I think we're all part of that solution, using our brains and our connections and our networks to make a small difference, every single one of us. That's why Hatch is so exciting and so important for me. I think there's a few very special thank yous that I think need to go out for tonight. But before we get on to that, I would like to talk about innovation for a moment. We know that if smart people with will innovate and work together, really difficult problems can be solved. And we saw that around COVID. Taronga's really committed to innovation, and that innovation is seen here tonight. Taronga's innovation, I guess some examples that we've been working on in the last couple of years, and hopefully you'll see another specialist. It'll be a world first specialist veterinary wildlife teaching hospital. And just like all the Hatch program people, that will allow to build capacity across this nation through our wildlife carers, our wonderful vet nurses across this nation, and of course our vets, domestic vets, livestock vets. We can all build capacity so that we can respond to wildlife crises that are out there. A wildlife specialist teaching hospital, veterinary teaching hospital, will be a really important part of that strategic goal for this nation. There's some really fabulous work going on in habitat restoration out there. And the Taronga team here, a number of them are here tonight, are working on a new project, a project called Habitat Positive. In New South Wales, before I really understood, there was a time when birds like Regent honeyeaters would literally send the skies black over the Great Dividing Range. Today, there's about 350. About half of those have been bred by Taronga and released. Right on the brink, but surviving and being stable out there. They live largely in a habitat called boxgum woodland. Boxgum woodland, it's at about 96% cleared now. That's how much of it's gone. It's valuable agricultural land. And Habitat Positive is about restoring, buying up blocks of land on that western side of the Great Divide and re-establishing habitat there. Habitat that can support over 150 threatened species in New South Wales of flora and fauna. So that's some of the really powerful, innovative projects that no individual can do, but by organisations working in partnership with many others, some in this room tonight, innovation comes out of those partnerships. So Hatch really is about developing relationships and partnerships between teams. And what Taronga's doing is facilitating. We've got wonderful mentors out there tonight. A huge thank you to you. Wonderful donors out there tonight that have made this Hatch program come to life. I would like to call you out. The Bridge Lane Foundation, the Wallamai Capital Group, Alexandra Holcomb, Auxilium. I know how to say that. It's just being in the mic, I get nervous too. Alexium Foundation. Very, very important in getting us here today and making this work and being able to do it every year. So it's our donors and supporters that really make that happen. Our Hatch mentors, over 100 hours has gone in. Incredible amount of time. I was talking to one of our mentors tonight and he said 8 a.m. every Friday morning for 14 weeks they had a meeting. Now that's commitment on both sides, I reckon, Friday mornings. To all the Hatch judges, I spent the day with you today. Thank you for all your time and the wonderful work that goes in. A special call out though, also to the Taronga team behind that, led by Christy Gazelle, who is just a wonderful team member at Taronga. We're so proud to have energetic people like her making it all happen. Thank you, Christy. And on that note, to her fearless leader, who is also a great innovator and one of the most energetic people in Taronga, Paul Maguire, who's our Director for Education and Community Programs. Over to you, Paul. Thank you for coming along.
Thanks, Cam. Look, Cam touched on this before. This is one of our favourite nights, and I was thinking why I like it so much, and it kind of feels like it's like an innovative, big family reunion. There's so many familiar faces in the room, which is a good thing and a bad thing. We all have the funny uncle, we have the innovative young cousins, etc. So welcome to you all tonight. Thank you for coming. This really is a special night, as Cam said. This is our third version coming through, and we're really, really proud. We think about how zoos have to evolve and to change and to adapt. Things aren't great, as you know. And one thing Taronga does really well is it really brings people together. And just looking at you here, you're a very diverse, and Cam said, very smart bunch of people. And if you can't get this work done for the environment, I'm not sure who can. So I do thank everyone for tonight for coming, and all the amazing teams as well. Give all the teams a final big round of applause for us, please. Thank you. To Marcus, Victoria, Robin and Alex and John, thank you for your donations to help the Hatch continue to grow, and to the Taronga Foundation team as well. Big thank you for your ongoing commitments. I thought I'd take a minute just to reflect on the past alumni, because it's all about people. As I said, people power is what changes the world. We've had 3 versions of Hatch, as I've said, which has been wonderfully enriching for us to be involved in. Some of the success stories. Alex is here tonight, who won last year. Alex, yeah. Security, can we come down here, please? I feel like Jerry Seinfeld. With her, I've lost my train of thought now, thanks Warren. But she's about to start biodegradable tree guards. Can Alex put a hand up? We'll give Alex a clap. She's here, over there, amazing. And she was beaming with this new project. She said, and guess what, Paul? I haven't lost money. So that's a good indication of success. Camille, who runs Xylo Systems, they've gone from strength to strength. They have 6 partner companies spanning 45 properties and energy assets in 6 different countries. Is Camille here? Give Camille a clap, amazing. We bask in your reflective glory, so I feel like a grandfather, so well done. We also have the Good Eddie girls. That was Catherine and Angio. They were their big claim to fame. They were on Channel 9's Food Star show with Gordon Ramsay, and they got to the last round. They're in Melbourne. We give them a round of applause anyway. That's amazing. Sally Giblin's here tonight. Where's Sally? Put your hand up. Sally over in the corner. Give her a clap. How's this for a wrap? She was nominated and awarded a number of awards for her work in climate change, including the Special Achievement Award by the TMRRW Award. So give big round of applause. Well done, Sally. Great to see you out there. And Replated in Victoria has formally partnered with Sustainability New South Wales. That's about using takeaway containers off the shelf. So we're very proud as parents of our children, or our hatchlings, who have gone from strength to strength. So thank you for being great proof points of amazing programs. So give them a collective round of applause. It's amazing. And I guess the bit I love is they're all females, which we love. We love how heavily female focused this program is, and Cam touched on about this is Camaragal country, it's women's country, so that's really appropriate and really fantastic for the future. I want to give a few quick thanks in line with what Cam said. I'd like to thank all the founders. I met the judges this morning. I said, good luck today. It is a really tricky cohort. Your videos you'll see and your projects are all amazing, so I would have a really tough time judging you, but I do thank you for your commitment and your effort. I want to thank Jess for being the MC tonight. Give Jess a big round of applause. Fantastic job. Amazing. Also wanted to thank Tom. Where's Tom Allen? Tom needs to stand up. He's about 10 foot tall. Stand up, Tom. You'll see him soon, but he's been amazing with Christy. Thank you, Tom. And speaking of Christy, who Cam's already waxed lyrical, Belinda Fairbrother's here, who helped birth Hatch with Danielle Friday. He's like a reunion. And Belle said, oh, wow, where's the flowers for Christy? I said, what flowers? He goes, the flowers we bought last year that you gave. I said, oh, where did they come from, those flowers? He said, I bought them. Have you bought them? The answer's no, but we'll give you metaphysical flowers. I will pay you back. But seriously, it's not an indictment. It's me, not you. I feel so sorry and sad. So sorry, Christy. And the last thank you is to the mentors. And as I said, that village analogy is so true. We are so lucky to have smart, educated and generous mentors who help the team so much. One-on-one, we have subject matter experts who come in, and that ecosystem, which grows every year, is super, super impressive. So thank you very much. Can you give the mentors a round of applause? And I'll hand back to Jess. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. One thing that probably nobody in this room knows about me is that I used to have a bug farm in Tasmania called Rebel Food, and it was an absolute disaster. So the point being that It's one thing to have a good idea and be like, yes, let's grow crickets out of organic waste and try and sell them. But it's another thing entirely to actually take an idea, have the wraparound support, have the mentors. And so this program is so fantastic and so wonderful. And it does indeed take a lot of people. Now, back to this idea of being judgy. The People's Choice Award. So what's going to happen next is that each of the teams will have a pitch and there'll be a little bit of Q&A time. And so it'll give you a chance to see what people have been working on and have a think about your favourite initiative. Now, I was tempted just to make up a whole bunch of criteria for the People's Choice Award, but I felt that that might be unethical and maybe a little bit of overstep on my part. Sorry, Paul. So instead, basically just keep it simple. Choose the one that you feel most inspired by. If you see something and it resonates, go with your first gut instinct and go with that one. Already the $50,000 grant has been decided. So if the one that resonates with you is that one, then you're going to have to choose the next one. Sorry, but that's the way it's working. I didn't make up the rules. I could change them now, but again, it would be unethical. So this is the thing that you've all come to hear about. This is the time where you actually get to listen directly to the Hatch founders. You'll hear their pitch video, and then we'll have the Q&A. But the first one that I would really like to introduce is Circular PV Alliance. Love this, love sunshine. We've just come off the back of an event where we were able to put a huge, vivid thing completely off-grid using a PV rig. It was not easy, so hats off to these guys. They met on a LinkedIn forum. Sounds cute, doesn't it? And discovering their shared passion for tackling solar panel waste, Circular PV Alliance and their founders, Megan, Laura, Gok and Stephen, have basically come together to revolutionise the solar industry through sustainable and circular practices. And really, is there any other way of doing it? They offer a unifying voice that drives environmental stewardship, economic growth and social responsibility within the solar sector whilst tackling solar PV waste. Take it away, Circular PV Alliance.
Australia is a solar energy powerhouse. We have led the world on the uptake of solar energy and pioneered some of the most remarkable solar technology ever developed. At present, there are around 100 million solar panels currently installed in Australia. Laid end to end, that's enough solar panels to encircle the Earth nearly 4 times. To meet our net zero targets, Australia is looking at installing billions more new solar panels. But what happens to these solar panels once they reach the end of their life and they're no longer installed and generating clean energy? It's unfortunate, but most used solar panels have ended up in landfill to date. Australia will have nearly 500,000 tonnes of used solar panels in the next few years. Keeping used solar panels out of landfill is a global problem and is eroding the industry's social licence. At Circular PV Alliance, we see this as a unique opportunity to transform the solar energy industry into a circular economy. This will unlock a whole new range of benefits for the environment, for the industry and for communities. Over the last 3 years, Circular PV Alliance has spent countless volunteer hours championing this cause and working on solutions. We are all about empowering the industry to be the best it can be, and that's why we have developed CPVA Certified in conjunction with industry stakeholders. CPVA Certified is the first circularity certification program for solar energy projects in the world. This means circularity principles are embedded into the way a solar energy project is designed, developed, managed and funded. Solar panels from CPVA certified projects won't be sent to landfill. Instead, they will enter a circular product lifecycle. We're making solar as sustainable as possible, lessening our ecological footprint and supporting jobs in new industries. CPVA Certified has widespread industry support and has already prevented tens of thousands of solar panels from entering landfill. The potential for CPVA to divert more solar panels from landfill is unlimited. To build on this momentum and maximise our impact and ensure solar energy projects being developed today are CPVA certified, we need to rapidly scale Circular PV Alliance. We need dedicated resources to implement CPVA certified, undertake assessments, issue certificates and cover practical operational costs. And we're ready and set to go right now. So let's do this together. Let's do it for our future generations. CPVA certified for a sustainable solar energy future.
Well done. If I can introduce you to the stage. Thank you. Congratulations to you all, and what a massive issue you're tackling here, such a systemic one as well. So could you please explain a little bit more about what the problem actually is within the solar industry, and the ways in which it works and operates, and how CPVA will help alleviate this and fit within that system?
Hello. Hey. Well, it works. Happy to kick off. Look, essentially the problem is that solar is growing within this country and it's essential to our net zero ambitions, and there's going to be billions of panels, and that's within Australia alone, installed in the coming years to meet our 2050 targets. And there's no end-of-life plan for these. So at the moment, they'll go to landfill or they'll be packaged up in a shipping container and be sent offshore. So in the crux of it, that's the issue. And it's one of these complex, as mentioned before, wicked issues. It's really multifaceted and there's lots of areas that need innovation and change. And what we're hoping to highlight here is CPVA is really looking at multiple areas to try and implement change. I did want to mention actually, the change, what you saw up there was around grid scale solar, and we're really looking to start there with CPVA certified. But you know, the changes we're implementing at grid scale will lead to the economies of scale in the processes and systems for treatment of panels that will flow down to the household level. So for all of you in the audience with panels on your roof at home, if you don't want them to end up in landfill, you need to vote for us. I'll just briefly touch on policy. That's one of the areas where there's a real weakness to the question, and there's a real policy void. So at the federal level, there's nothing really. And the states are all scrambling to try and come up with something, and they're all running in different directions. And you know, we really need strong policy to both encourage and incentivise, but also, you know, ensure that panels are not sent away or dumped, that they're treated and they're either reused or those precious materials are recovered and recycled and reused within the country. So just a couple of quick examples and then I'll hand over to Gok. You know, as an example, in Victoria, where I'm from, they implemented a landfill ban, but it's very ineffective because the infrastructure's not there to get panels, you know, to prevent them from going to landfill, really. There's nowhere else for them to go. So what we're seeing is panels are either being packaged up and sent to developing countries, which we don't think is ideal, or they've been having the aluminium frames ripped off and then the remainder of the solar panels just put into landfill. So it's very ineffectual legislation, but they're trying. It's something. So it's good, but it's not great. What's the other? Oh, look, at the household level, there's a thing called STCs, which is a solar incentive for people to put panels on their roofs. Again, that's an upfront payment. And so what that does is it incentivises people to put bigger or new systems in or on their roofs, and it doesn't encourage people to get the full value out of their existing systems and extend the life and use them to their full extent. So just a couple of quick examples of where policy is trying to do the right thing but isn't quite right. So Circular PV Alliance, we're advocating on all government levels. So at the federal level, we've been in multiple working groups with the feds looking at their proposed recycling scheme, and we're advocating really hard, and we've written letters of support, and we're representing our members in that front to get stronger policy, you know, better outcomes. At the state level, we're in Gok's part of the Queensland Stewardship Project Working Group, and we've also worked closely with Solar Victoria as an example on when they were running their programs And importantly, and lastly, but at the local level, Megan's had really strong ties in with the Dubbo Regional Council, which is so good, and we've got like agreements in place with them or support from them to work with them. And they've got one of the biggest renewable energy zones in the country within their region, so really strong ties in there, which is fantastic. I'll just pass the call.
Okay, can you, yeah, okay, cool. We also focus on raising awareness because industry, governments and communities are just started to understand the significance and importance of PV panel waste, solar panel waste. So CPV is at the forefront of driving actions. You know, we speak in industry events, conferences, not in Australia, also internationally. We do lots of interviews on podcasting, on radio, and publishing research projects, and with a global scale, actually, yeah.
And the other missing piece of the puzzle, I would say, that we're really active in is in the innovation and technology side of things, because this is an emerging industry. There are technologies that need to be developed so that we can effectively recover materials or recycle or reuse them. So we've been at the real pointy end of that. Our first project we did together was a micropilot project where we tested a cohort of used panels just to prove the concept that used panels could actually have a second life. And they absolutely can. So that was really important first stepping stone for us, that we're actually, what we're on about is actually real, could actually be something. We've got a fantastic working relationship with PV Lab, which is the eminent panel testing organisation in Australia. They're the only independent lab in Australia. They helped us with the micropilot project. We're working with lots of different universities around the world. But most importantly, today we're here to innovate with CPVA certified, which is a real game changer. It is the first independent certification program for circularity principles for solar energy projects. There's a bit of a mouthful in the world, so we're really excited about that. If you're excited about that too, please vote for us and let's really shake up the solar industry.
Thank you so much, and I like those shameless plugs to be voted for, so it's fantastic. Well done, that's how you hustle. It sounds like an incredibly complex problem and that you have the knowledge and the skills to be able to tackle it. So best of luck with your endeavours, and yeah, thank you for being part of the program.
Thanks.
So we're going to hear from our second initiative now called Zero Tag. So noticing that our precious environment was drowning in packaging waste, Shimroth, Felix and Joseph designed a refill management platform that connects online refill brands, that's a mouthful, with consumers to avoid waste across the value chain. Please welcome Zero Tag.
Packaging waste makes up 70% of the 400 million tons of global marine litter. We want to create a world where caring for the planet is the most convenient way to shop.
After running refill campaigns in the UK and Australia, I learned that there's so much power in showing people what's possible with design.
I ran a multidisciplinary studio alongside a software agency before my master's at RMIT. During my studies, my focus was on sustainable systems, where I won a design award from the Premier of Victoria.
As more people shop online, we need to design packaging for the shelves of people's homes. So what does that look like?
Refill is the best way to avoid waste. And for brands, refill usually means a subscription.
But subscriptions are a hard sell for new customers, and consumers don't want to be locked in. They also cause food waste by encouraging overstocking and taking up precious space at home.
We need a scalable way for refill to be convenient and economical for everyone.
Zero Tag is a refill e-pantry app that allows users to track their household goods and reorder from their favorite brands with just one tap. Households can tag their reusable containers at home with our dishwasher-safe smart stickers. And when they are running low, they can scan a tag to quickly reorder from one of our partner brands. When they receive an order, The user simply refills the items into their containers and copy-pastes the product information to their container using the app. Now, everyone in the household can see what's in the e-pantry and know when to use it by.
We make money through affiliate marketing with a tiered pricing model, charging brands 5 to 15% of every reorder made through the platform. In exchange, we reduce digital ad spend, which has risen by 35% in the last 3 years, such that a Google search can cost $5 per click.
Last year, we ran a pilot with Refillable Retailers and Sustainability Victoria, where the scan and copy tech delivered 3,000 brand stories in store and saved 4 minutes of staff time per customer.
Using what we've learned, we've created a platform that's ready to scale. We've onboarded partners from our pilot and attracted new brands onto our platform. It's now live and ready for both iOS and Android. This is just the beginning. This is a proof of concept of a biodegradable electronic tag made from bacteria, and it was my capstone for my Master of Design, Innovation and Technology. Smart packaging is most practical if it's reusable, and what we've shown you today is a glimpse of what our ecosystem can do.
Convenience while caring for the planet is in our hands and our homes.
Join us in disrupting single-use packaging with the future of retail.
Download the app today, and for all the angels and investors out there, we'd love to connect.
We're Zero Tag, label anything, waste nothing.
It's a very
One
well-deserved round
planet,
of applause.
one shot to save it. It's time to set the pace.
It's a very well-deserved round of applause. Let's welcome Joseph, Felix and Shim to the stage. Take a seat. Gentlemen, thank you so much for all your hard work over the course of the program. I know it's going to continue. I know that there are a range of different subscription-based services already out there. So how are you guys different from what's out there, and what's your unique point of difference?
Thank you for that question, Tom. So I think Zero Tag is we're essentially an inventory management for refill at home. So naturally, we intersect a lot of multiple industries. So we have competitors in different aspects of the business. So for customers, for example, customers can, what we do is Zero Tag makes it easy to reorder from multiple brands and multiple stores all in one place. And so supermarkets, they can do the same thing, but if you try to shop, if you want sustainability, you're sort of torn because it's hard to find convenience and caring for the planet while you shop at these places. So that's where we sort of have that difference.
So I'd like to address that question from a technical perspective as well. So subscriptions encourage overbuying. So why is that the case? Well, especially with, let's say, things with expiry dates, things are fresh, or think of coffee, these are things that are like food is alive, so when the weather changes, your supply changes, your supply is variable, and what we want as consumers change. And that means that, if you try to predict things, subscriptions kind of like assume that everyone consumes things at a constant rate. And if you are like a brand provider, you would rather that people continuously have your stuff than run out and then run to the supermarket or your next competitor. But another technology, that's I guess the most obvious competitor are like normal QR codes. And the thing is, with refill, with reuse, a single container can have different products over time. Like a normal QR code assumes that a single packaging is tied to a single product. So with Zero Tag, you can link and relink different products and manage all of them in one place. And then you can, you can start also adding things to your cart directly onto the stores of our partners and then check out when you need to.
Thank you, Joseph and Shim. You talk a little bit about, a greater reduction of plastic waste, essentially, things heading into our ocean and other places. Yet your service still sees goods being delivered to households in packaging. So tell us how you're doing this better. How is Zero Tag ultimately reducing the waste problem further?
Yeah, so that's a very valid point. So the products actually go straight to the door. And because they're ordered just in time, they actually come fresh in biodegradable packaging. So I just graduated graphic design from RMIT like a few days ago. So
congratulations.
You haven't seen the work yet. Don't applaud yet. But so my role in this is actually design. So a lot of the briefs we get as graphic designers is to design packaging, right? And so I never wanted to abdicate my role as a designer in designing packaging. But it was so entrenched in this idea of representation for a brand, right? But what if you could detach branding from packaging? And so that's what we're trying to explore. So if you can have all of the information of that brand on your phone by linking through QR codes and various other means, then you don't need to have that product in store shelves because it goes directly to your home. You're designing products to be viewed in the household. You already sold on that product because you bought it online.
So I'd like to add also the technical dimension to that, to what Felix is saying, right? Like for a lot of brands, packaging is how they distinguish themselves, how they express themselves, and let people identify with them. Now, when you're trying to think of sustainable packaging, as especially in reuse, you actually want to start standardizing things. Because think about the reverse logistics and how do you refill, how do you clean stuff? Even when you think of recycling, right? We're talking about, you have recycling people and then they talk about standardization of materials. So on one hand, sustainability calls for standardization, yet marketing calls for expression. How do you put those two together? And that's what we've been able to do. But there's a second point also, is that what I think Felix also hinted on this, that when it comes just in time, why is that so powerful? So look, my brother is an industrial engineer, and he'd tell me about different kinds of waste from a logistics perspective, because you realize, okay, like compostable packaging, it's designed to be eaten by living organisms. So it is, it's like, it is somewhat susceptible to pests, moisture, if you just leave it there for a long time and gets lost and you totally forgot that you had it in the first place. I mean, we could make it last forever, but making packaging last forever is how we got into this problem in the first place. Yeah, so.
Jim, did you want to give us the closing remarks?
Sure. I guess just to add to that.
The closing remarks.
Closing remarks, yes. So with what we're doing is we're really making it easy so if you look at the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, that's the chief body for circular economy based in the UK, they say that for reuse to scale, you need a multi-brand, multi-retailer sort of play. And that's exactly what Zero Tag does. We allow a lot of brands to play, and that's what we need in this way. And right now we're starting with refill at home, but we could get into different refill models, swappable models with the technology that we're developing.
It's really exciting, and you're a very diverse team with great strengths between you, so I know that there are exciting times ahead. Keep up the great work. Let's give them a round of applause. Now, I'd love to introduce our next initiative, which is called Pledge for the Planet. Founder Alice actually got her mum to turn to a plant-based diet. And after doing this, Alice basically decided to make climate action simple, fun, and tangible
via the platform that you're about to see, and it motivates collective action via community. I can't wait to see the video. Let's welcome Alice and Pledge for the Planet.
One planet, one shot to save it. It's time to set the pace for change. So lace up, clip in, and dive deep. Are you in? Millions of Australians are willing to take action. But how do we motivate action? We use the universal language, sport. I'm Alice, founder of Pledge for the Planet. Pledge for the Planet rallies people to take action. Sport is our catalyst for change. We engage entire communities via challenges. But here's the twist. You don't pay to enter, you don't pay to sponsor, you make a pledge. A pledge is a behaviour swap to reduce your impact on the planet. You use action as currency. Harnessing the power of communities, we increase our impact 30-fold. We unlock collective action at scale.
For sports clubs, no entry fees, your pledge is your ticket.
For individuals, think fundraising with action as currency.
For corporates, team building with employee challenges.
I pledge to go meet 3-1.
I pledge to play sport. Be the catalyst for change within your community. There are pledges to suit everyone. We track impact across carbon emissions, waste reduction, and biodiversity preservation. We prove that individual actions have a powerful collective impact. Over 30 sports clubs across Australia have already joined. We're collaborating with brands to offer sustainable solutions. We're working with corporates and races to inspire action. And incredibly, it's working. With over 1,000 users making over 3,300 pledges, saving 750,000 kilos of CO2, 700,000 pieces of plastic, and 28 million litres of water. But we're just getting started. Our goal? To motivate 2 million people to make 6 million pledges within the next 10 years. We only have one planet. This is our mission. So, are you in?
I am totally in. I don't know what about all of you. Your video pitch was very energetic. It makes me want to run a marathon, and I can barely run 100 metres, so well done.
That's the plan.
So you mentioned that you'd like to reach your very ambitious goal of 2 million users and 6 million pledges over 10 years. What actions do you need to help you accomplish that?
Yes, it's a big goal, and the main thing that we need to do to accomplish that is to make sure that we continue to tap into existing communities and introduce people to climate action. And so what that looks like for us is being able to tap into sports clubs for our 48-hour mission, which is our annual virtual event in which we invite sports clubs to take part in our events. They pay no entry fees, but they have to make a pledge to take part. And they're all incredibly competitive. So then they, compete with each other over the course of 48 hours. I think we've actually got some 48-hour mission participants here in the crowd tonight and some podium winners as well from last year. So it's about engaging with new communities in different ways. And we've actually got the 48-hour mission coming up next month on the 16th to the 18th of August. So if you are part of a sports club or community group or know anybody who is, we invite you to take part, reach out, and I'd love to hear from you because it's all about getting as many people as we possibly can to join. The second part of it all is corporate. So we're launching our V2 platform next month as well. It's going to be a big month. And that is all about getting businesses and their communities to take part as well. So again, tapping into another target audience, introducing them with ways that they can reduce their impact on the planet, providing simple, sustainable solutions to them. And the third part of it all is where Pledge for the Planet all started, was with our individual mission. So for people who are running marathons and triathlons, a way to get their community to motivate change. And so the really important thing for us to do there is partnering with the races. 85,000 people run the City to Surf every year. So, even if we got 20% of people to raise pledges, the impact that would have within their community would be huge. And there's over 900 races in Australia a year. So there's so much movement to bring new people into the climate conversation, provide them with solutions and things that they can do to help reduce their impact on the planet. So if we do all of that well, 2 million people, 6 million pledges, 10 years, easy.
Wow. It sounds like a busy few months, and I've learnt that Australians really like running. 900 races. Wow, that's impressive. So I guess, what have been your biggest learnings as a founder through your journey with Pledge for the Planet?
Yeah, it's been a fun journey. I think, first and foremost, the power of community. There's so many people who have been part of the journey with Pledge for the Planet, and all the sports clubs that have come on board and liked the idea, wanted to get involved. Pledge started as a way for me to motivate change within my own personal community, and since then it has grown, and other people have adopted the ideas and are sharing it with their communities. People want to help people. People want to do things that their friends and family care about, that their communities care about. And so it's inviting people in, and it's leveraging off that, and the amount of scale that you can have by tapping into communities that already exist and giving them solutions and giving them fun ways to engage is incredibly powerful. And it's something that throughout the journey has been a real motivator as we've been going. I think the second part of that is be flexible and be agile, and nothing happens the way that you think it will. We launched our first platform at the beginning of 2020, and that was just for the individual mission. So that's for people to use our platform for races like marathons and triathlons. When COVID came along, they were all cancelled. So we were stuck with this platform, but the sort of facilitator for that was all cancelled. So we had to come up with new novel ways to get people to motivate climate action. So we came up with our 48-hour mission, which is the virtual activity competition that I spoke about before. And people loved it. It's been growing, doubling in participation year on year. And that was kind of a happy accident. And it was something that we did to make sure that people could continue to motivate climate action using our platform. And it's now the biggest event of the year, and it's continuing to grow, which is really exciting. I think the third and final thing for me on this journey, specifically with Hatch as well, has been people. I think there's so many people in this room that have been part of Pledge's journey, and reaching out to people in the sort of lonely founder journey when you feel like you're all by yourself. There's, so many people here that have been part of that. So it's been amazing to be supported by such an incredible group of people. Hatch as well, like yourself and Tom and Tim and all the founders, there's so much that we've all learned from each other. Elisa and I speak a lot about being solo founders and the difficulties that come with that, but there's so many other people behind it. So yeah, all those things, just continue on that journey, continuing those learnings.
Yeah, fantastic learnings, and some that we can hopefully share with aspiring founders out there as well. So well done, thank you so much. And we're going to introduce our fourth initiative, which is Whoop Whoop for Nature. So bringing her wealth of knowledge and experience in environmental science, founder Elisa is driving practical action on nature by transforming the way restoration is delivered, so that together we can grow a brighter future for everyone. Here is Whoop Whoop for Nature's pitch.
It's sunrise out here in Whoop Whoop, and Australia's farmers are getting up just as nocturnal animals like the lowland leadbeater's possum are off to bed. Like our farmers, Australia's plants and animals do invisible jobs that sustain our lives in the big smoke. My name is Elisa Rawlings, and I'm the founder of Whoop Whoop. I've spent my career restoring degraded landscapes for animals like this cute little possum. You see, we've cleared 98% of this possum's habitat, and with less than 15 hectares remaining and only 30 animals, this species and thousands of others are at imminent risk of extinction. Biodiversity loss like this is bad news for all of us, but especially for farmers like Pete. Every day we learn more and more about how biodiversity is critical for healthy, productive agriculture now and in the long term. We don't hear much about it, but biodiversity loss is imminent. We have a solution. It involves restoring 30% of vegetation cover across private land in the next 6 years. We need to restore 11.6 million hectares of land by 2030 to avoid catastrophic biodiversity loss. But right now, Australians are only planting 50,000 hectares per year. At Whoop Whoop, we're not mucking around. We've developed a unique online tool to scale practical and urgent action for nature. This platform connects the right people together to make the process as easy as possible. Step 1 is to streamline the restoration process behind the scenes by developing customised solutions for specific locations. Our surveys show that farmers understand the challenge and support our mission. So our website will be designed for farmers like Pete, so he can choose a restoration solution that works for his farm and location. Using our unique online process, we tailor a solution and give Pete implementation guidelines so he can get the job done. Our research shows that farmers are time poor and they need practical support to care for nature. So our website can connect Pete with the right people who can make it happen. Environmental restoration businesses such as Jenny's can receive the specifications directly and quote on the job. This allows Jenny to start forecasting demand and scaling her supply chains like seed and plants. Pete can pay for it himself, but he can also use the website to access financial support from corporates or the nature repair market, tapping into an ever-increasing pool of finance to support such initiatives. Through our website, we aim to bring together 60,000 farmers like Pete with environmental businesses like Jenny's so we can scale practical action across 8 million hectares of Australian farmland. We're offering farmers a freemium service to get started. We'll generate revenue through a 20% platform transaction fee and via corporates using us to connect to projects. As a social enterprise, we're donating 10% of our profits to charity. We have a team of incredible advisors who are committed to seeing this enterprise succeed. We need 100 of Australia's farmers, restoration practitioners and corporates to back us in our vision and join us in restoring Australia one plant at a time. If you're one of these change makers, we'd love to talk. This habitat you can see around me, we built 5 years ago for Leadbetter's possum and it's already 12 metres tall. It's not too late for creatures like the Leadbetter's possum, our farmers or our future. Now let's roll up our sleeves and get started.
Well done on all the hard work, Elisa.
Thank you.
Something which I've observed working with a range of different founders is that there can sometimes be a bit of a reluctance to actually get out in the field and talk with the end consumers, users, people who are part of this ecosystem. And something I really admired about Elisa is this ability right from day one to be getting out there and having these sometimes difficult conversations with farmers to better understand their needs and that broader ecosystem. So tell us about some of the challenges and the insights that you've gained from these conversations.
Great. Yeah, thanks, Tom. I do like to chat, and so do farmers. So I've had a great time talking to lots of farmers and also talking to restoration providers and also corporates, because we've talked about wicked problems today, and this really is a wicked problem trying to scale restoration. And the sector really isn't doing as much as we could, and there's a number of constraints. So we need to develop solutions that work for everyone. So talking to farmers has been the notoriously difficult group to sort of get to because they live a long way away. There's cultural barriers. They're inundated by different environmental organisations who come and speak to them all the time. So there's we approached it in many ways. And one of the ways we spoke to lots of farmers, we interviewed lots of farmers, we did lots of surveys. I also very bravely turned up to a few agricultural pitch nights, which were quite brutal, but I had a really good time.
Learning how to change the language to a specific audience.
That's right. I did change my language that night, and actually they were fantastic. And so one of the things we uncovered during Hatch in our learnings is that about 2/3 of farmers want to do more to manage nature on farms and also to restore their farms. And so that's fantastic. So that's a big proportion of farmers who would like to do more. But what we also uncovered is that time, knowledge and funding are key barriers to taking action. So we often think funding, if they had money, they might take action, but actually they're very time poor farmers. They work very long hours, and they also have told me that a lot of them know how to plant trees, but they don't really know how to restore ecological landscapes. And so the way we're thinking about that is giving them the knowledge to take action, but also the time and connecting through the right people. So just to unpack that a little bit more, with those 2/3 of farmers that want to take action, they have slightly different motivations. So around 30% want to take action because it's the right thing to do, they say we care about plants, we love birds. They think it's the right thing to do, and perhaps they inherently understand the benefits of nature to their farming enterprise. But there's another 30% that want to see the economic benefits, the commercial return. And so the environmental sector needs to try and demonstrate that better. And so we're doing that in two ways. We're thinking about providing the knowledge through a series of ecological products that make farming sense, but have very high integrity biodiversity. And we're also offering to support them to take practical action by connecting them through to people who can practically help on the website.
It's a great initiative. You talk about ecological and biodiversity restoration, basically being at the heart of Whoop Whoop, right? And this is really complex stuff, right? And I imagine would typically require quite a individual sort of approach depending on the specific landholder, farmer, etc. And part of your approach is looking at more of a standardised way to provide the access to services and make this more viable. So how do you do that when it's quite a complex issue?
Yeah, it is very complex. And so I have done lots of restoration over time, and I've met with lots of farmers over time. And so farmers are tied, like ecosystems are tied to landscape, so are farmers. So dairy farmers are choosing land that's in certain types of environments. And so dairy farmers or beef farmers or croppers, they often have shared objectives. And so if we can understand what their shared objectives are, and also what those types of landscapes need, we can come up with solutions that work for both biodiversity but also for the farmer. So one of the ways we think about this, and I've done some fantastic, very privileged work with Zoos Victoria over time, thinking about restoring habitat for the lowland leadbeater's possum, which has only got 15 hectares and it's very critically endangered animal, in fact. I do the plants, they do the animals. What we had to do, just to give you an idea about how we start to think about standardising, so we set a goal. There's only 15 hectares of habitat, and so a group of partner organisations set a goal to say, we're going to build 5 new release sites. And we know they're not out there, so we have to build them from scratch. And so my job was thinking, well, how do we go about this? And how do we find those sites? So we started to use new technologies. So there's lots of fantastic technologies out there that people are already tapping into, but they don't have that ecological sort of knowledge, and they really don't have the practical sort of aspects. So they can't tell people what to go and do. And so over time we started to introduce this new technology to find sites, and we also started to then plant sites, and I had to do it 5 times over, and I'm still doing it actually 5 times over, and I started to think, well, actually a lot of my knowledge is actually quite replicable, and could we start to standardise approaches and bring in all these amazing new technologies to start to automate and scale? And if we do that, then it also helps the environmental sector, because seed and plants are a limiting factor. And so if we can sort of support them at the front end to think about what those requirements are, it can help them build their supply chains.
Excellent. There is so much potential, Elisa, and we can't wait to support you on your journey.
Great.
So best of luck. Thanks
you
so
very much, Tom. Thank you.
Inspiring stuff. So I would like to introduce another very inspiring initiative called Medical Pantry. And I don't know if you knew, but I think we should, let's give him a whistle and a round of applause. Thanks, Warren. They're good, you'll see. There is an astronomical amount of medical waste that goes into landfill every day, and in many cases for no real good reason. Now, founder Dr. Martin and a very strong supporter and part of the team, the medical pantry team, Olivia, are dedicated to finding ways to ensure that this is no longer going into landfill, that it is going to needs and causes that need it most to save lives of people, animals, and our planet. So let's have a look at their video now.
Every year, millions of native Australian animals need urgent medical care. Over 20,000 Australians volunteer their time to care for sick and injured animals. Carers are mostly self-funded and receive no government support. They have high rates of burnout, with some telling us they eat tin spaghetti to save money for medical supplies. Something needs to be done to support the carers who look after our wildlife. I'm Dr. Martin Nguyen, a medical doctor, a serial entrepreneur, and the founder of the Medical Pantry. We are Oz Harvest for medical supplies. With the support of our experienced board and over 200 volunteers, we have a proven model of rescuing medical supplies from hospitals and donating it to those in need. Over the last 3 years, we've diverted over 15,000 tonnes of medical supplies from going to landfill to over 80 organisations all over the globe. We want to take what we've learned and apply the same model to support Australian carers. Since joining the Hatch Accelerator, we've launched our beta program, onboarded 20 rescues, and delivered 3 tonnes of medical supplies. One rescue has told us they've been able to save more animals since joining our program. We roughly estimate an extra 40,000 animals will be saved per year with the Medical Pantry. Our vision is to provide free medical supplies to all the carers in Australia. We have the supplies, we have the people, and we know what needs to be done. We've developed a sustainable business model which involves product and services, memberships, and corporate sponsors. We're looking for supporters to help us expand our operations in 2 key areas. 1, a larger warehouse to increase our capacity, and 2, dedicated staff to support our volunteers. We are Medical Pantry, sustainable healthcare for all creatures great and small.
Well done, and good job distracting us with cute animals as well. A great tactic. Well, congratulations to you both. Thank you. Wonderful pitch. So I guess medical supplies or unused medical supplies ending up in landfill is a massive issue. Can you please explain a little bit about how big an issue this actually is and what sort of medical supplies that you rescue from landfill and that you can utilise?
Thanks, Christy. So healthcare is actually the second largest contributor to landfill in Australia, just after food waste. And this might not be surprising to the doctors, nurses, and other medical professionals in the room, but it was certainly a surprise to me when I first found out. So when Medical Pantry first started, we assumed that a lot of the supplies that were being thrown out by hospitals were expired. But we actually found out that about 30% of this waste consisted of supplies that were still in date in their original packaging and completely, perfectly safe to use. So we are dedicated to collecting these supplies and distributing them to people around the world that don't have access to basic healthcare. So I think that it's important that we understand the scale of this issue. So as we mentioned in our video, we've diverted about 15,000 tonnes of medical supplies from going to landfill. That sounds like a big number, and it definitely is, to the point that I thought that someone had added some accidental extra zeros to the end of that when I heard it. But in actuality, we only accept about 4% of the donations that are offered to us by donors. And that's just based on our logistical capacity. So there's another 96% of waste that's still going to landfill. So this is definitely an issue that we can't ignore. And yeah, so if you think so too, please vote for us. Another shameless plug. Steve, you're not the only one who can do it.
Yes, you started a trend there, Steve, but that's all right. Well done. That is an incredibly impressive number that you've diverted from landfill, and it can only get better from here, hopefully. So you estimated that you can potentially save an extra 40,000 animals a year with support, which is a massive amount. What are Medical Pantry's broader objectives for the next 3 years?
Thank you. So before I start answering that question, I just want to touch on that 40,000 extra animals being saved. So we didn't appreciate this when we started, but we spoke with a lot of rescues, and they told us that animals that they receive, if they cannot rehabilitate them and release them back to the wild, they have to euthanize these animals. So that was massive for us, and one of the things that we'd like to talk about is that we've been able to donate orthopedic supplies. So with these orthopedic supplies, they're able to fix broken wings, broken arms and legs, and so these animals can rehabilitate quicker, and they can also get back to the wild. So these extra 40,000 animals are animals that we don't need to euthanize. You know, that's really powerful. But so the plan, yeah, to get to the plan. The plan for us is to expand. So we're in a tiny warehouse. It's only 400 square meters. It needs to be bigger. We need to make a bigger dent from this 4%. Anything above that would be great. And so with that requires us to transition from a volunteer base to a hybrid base where we have some employees to really support our partners, our donors and our volunteers to really expand the impact that we're doing. And so hopefully, if we're talking startup language, we want to own Victoria, but we want to expand. So we want to go to New South Wales, we want to go to Queensland. And if we take this Oz Harvest model, is that we want to take the same model and go to Asia, go to Africa. I mean, those are big, ambitious goals. With everyone's help, hopefully we get there. Thank you.
Wonderful. And I guess rescuing and rehabilitating wildlife is very close to Taronga's heart as well. So thank you so much for all you do for our wildlife. Round of applause. Now it's on to our final team. Thank you. So the Groundswell Collective Tiny Forests. So inspired by a Japanese practice, these small yet complete ecosystems boast a plethora of social and environmental benefits. And they bring communities together in unique ways. So let's welcome founders Anna and Mark and their initiative, the Groundswell Collective Tiny Forests.
Nature. It calms and sustains us, providing the food, materials, and air that we breathe to survive. Yet it feels like we've forgotten it, valuing growth over greening, houses over habitat. In Australia, we have one of the world's highest levels of land clearing, coupled with the 4th highest species extinction rate on the planet. But what if there was a way to restore nature? What if we could bring it back right into the heart of our communities? What if we created pockets of sanctuary for people and the planet? My name's Anna. I'm the co-founder of the Groundswell Collective, and that's exactly what we're doing with Tiny Forests. Tiny forests are small yet complete ecosystems, about the size of your average tennis court. They consist of a densely packed patch of native species planted in soil that has been loosened and improved. They're based on a planting methodology that was developed in Japan in the 1970s and has been employed 3,000 times around the world, proving that they grow 10 times faster, 30 times denser and 100 times more biodiverse than traditional tree planting methods. This rapid regeneration in small areas makes tiny forests perfect for retrofitting into our increasingly hot and barren urban centres. We've already planted 3 of these forests, engaging over 400 students and community members in the planting, monitoring and maintenance. Our citizen science continues to demonstrate how they capture carbon, provide valuable habitat to biodiversity, reduce urban temperatures and improve community connectedness and resilience. Our skilled and talented team, including myself with over 20 years experience in corporate partnerships, government procurement and community engagement, Mark, a software, renewable and electrical engineer, and Katie, our communications and sustainability specialist, have already been supported by over 14 corporate partners, including Carbon Positive Australia, Earthwatch Australia and Gemini. And we're ready to amplify and accelerate our impact. As a not-for-profit organisation, we generate revenue by charging a project management fee to our corporate partners. This, along with our existing user pay workshops and fee-for-service offerings, makes us financially sustainable. We have 5 new sites ready to go and are looking for corporate partners, landholder connections and funding opportunities. If you'd like to help restore nature and bring biodiversity back into our community and beyond, please reach out to us.
And I welcome to the stage, Mark's a humble man. He truly is. He's humble, he gets shit done. That's what I love. Well done on all the hard work. Like, even in the space of time that we've been working together, you have, basically queued up a bunch of extra tiny forests ready to go. You've been on the ground, and this appetite and hunger and enthusiasm to do this work in community, particularly in this place-based way, is really impressive. The video as well showed basically how this particular planting method can boost, 10 times, some impressive figures compared to the traditional planting method. So tell us more about that. How are you achieving these broadly different rates of growth, for example, with your method versus that of the traditional ones?
Thank you, Tom. I think I'll keep it simple and just say, just vote for us. Is that what you do? Trust me, vote for us. No, look, there's a few very specific things that we do that means we have these kind of incredible environmental outcomes. So firstly, we plant native species that are indigenous to the particular site that we're planting on. We plant them in ratios as you'd find them in nature. So we're replicating what was on that site before it was cleared. We then plant them densely, so 3 to 4 per square metre, in soil, as I mentioned, that we dig up. So we do that literally with an excavator. We dig it up. We include organic materials, so compost, manures, and the combination of the really loose soil means the roots go down really quickly. The combination of that density means that they compete for sunlight, so they grow really quickly. So we plant them at kind of this size, and within 6 months, they're 3 times the size of me. So they grow very quickly. They create a complete ecosystem with 30 to 40 different native species there, which means we've got bushes and shrubs and trees. So you're creating different layers of a forest, which means they create incredible habitat for the wildlife that is native to that site. So they're providing the food and shelter requirements. They're also, capturing carbon, reducing air pollution, reducing the temperatures in the surrounding environments. Whole heap of awesome things.
And these are just some of the benefits for nature, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've seen schools up there on the screen tonight, and I know that you've been getting out there into the schools and in community groups as well. So tell us about some of the social benefits too.
Yeah, look, the social benefits can't be undersold, and I think Cam talked about, Jane Goodall talked about clouds and rain. I think that's sort of what we look at. We kind of seed the cloud and let the community rain down. So we bring people together in this really unique and inspiring way and give them a practical way that they can take climate action. They are there with their hands in the ground planting trees. We're talking about the importance of nature. We're talking about the importance of biodiversity. I think often in the climate change space, people get very overwhelmed. There's a lot of eco-anxiety. There's a lot of fear about what you can do. And what we're saying is there's really simple things we can do. Come with us, plant some trees, and we'll create a whole habitat in a morning. And then we talk to them about what else could you do? Well, maybe you could make a habitat garden at home. Maybe you could put a frog bowl in the school. So it has this real knock-on effect. Yeah. And in our school programs particularly, we're talking to the kids. You know, we know our kids are facing a wellbeing and mental health crisis. More and more kids have anxiety and depression. And on the flip side of that, and, you know, spending increasing amount of times indoors, behind screens.
On the screens.
Oh, on the screens, right? And so what we're doing is we're getting them back out in nature. We're giving them that environmental stewardship. They're planting the trees, they're monitoring the trees, they're looking after them, and we know that kids who spend time in green spaces have biodiverse, rich playgrounds, have better wellbeing and cognition outcomes. So it's really powerful stuff.
Well done, both Anna and Mark. There's a huge amount of potential here, like the other initiatives, and I can't wait to see you guys continue to get your hands dirty, pardon the pun, and just create this change. So let's give them a round of applause.
Thank you. Thanks.
And that concludes the different videos and pictures from these 6 different initiatives. So I'd like to say a very heartfelt thank you to all of the founders who've been working their backsides off over the program. They have really put in a lot of effort. They've been getting out there. They just haven't been talking about this stuff. They've been in the field, testing, building the MVPs, and, you know, developing these concepts. So thank you for all the hard work you've put in. Thanks to Taronga Conservation Society again, who continues to support these founders and organisations like mine to help these guys create change for the planet. And of course, the funders as well. We greatly appreciate the support. I might hand back to you, Jess.
Okay, we're going to do this really quickly. Everybody grab your phone. Put it on the camera. Waiting for the QR code. So this is a bit where you vote, okay? You got camera, put your phone, follow the link, vote. Had to claw back some time there. Come on, I did a good job, didn't I? Come on. Yep, we're on. Go.
If you're having problems with service, if you want to jump on someone else's phone and vote on theirs, go for it. There we go. We've got an offer over here from Warren. Okay. He's a team mentor, so it is a little biased. Wonderful. All right, whilst you're doing that, I might introduce Dr. Alex Carthy, I should say, from Rehabitat. She was the recipient of the 50K grant last year, and she's here to share some updates. Please welcome her. Did you manage to get your vote in? I didn't. That's all right. There'll be opportunity later as well. Okay. Alex, welcome. I can't believe it's been 12 months since you've been in this hot seat.
Me either, and it's so much more fun sitting in the audience and not having to get
Yes.
stressed out.
A few drinks in you as well, I imagine. Yeah. Well, it's so good to see you. And like I said, it's been 12 months since you were part of the Hatch program last year, and you've got some very exciting developments underway, and we would love to hear about them.
Yeah, thanks, Christy. It's been an amazing 12 months. I honestly don't know that I really knew what I was getting myself in for when I started the Accelerator program. And I've often said that my journey was sort of like this because I just learnt so much in such a short amount of time. And honestly, the Hatch program just, it sounds cheesy, but actually kind of changed my life, because I was very set on a very particular career path in science as an academic. I thought I knew that that's where I needed to go and that's how I would make change in the world. And I just had this crazy idea that maybe we should make biodegradable habitat units for wildlife after fire. And Hatch came along, and that program just showed me that A, it was a good idea, B, it was something I could actually make happen. There's this whole other way out there that you can go and create things and have impact and make something a reality. So that's just been absolutely amazing. So I can't thank the program and the donors and everybody's support enough.
Thank you.
And so, yeah, in the last 12 months, Mags sort of shared what I said to him before, which was, amazingly, we made a little tiny bit of money this year and didn't lose money, which I think is pretty good for a first-year startup, considering where I started. So, woo! Who knew conservation could actually be financially sustainable? And I guess that's kind of the whole point, right? There is another way to go out there and do things, and you can actually do it within the bounds of capitalism, but for good. So, we're doing really well, and we have over 3,000 habitat pods out in the field now. We have different organisations using them for different purposes to what we initially imagined them. So we thought these are great for use after fire. Thankfully, the huge bushfire season that we all thought was coming last summer didn't eventuate, which I was pretty anxious about, actually, because I didn't feel like I was ready, let alone the rest of the country. So we've got a bit of a breather there, which has been great. And so different organisations like Australian Wildlife Conservancy have been using them as part of their monitoring programs for threatened species that they release, and then the little guys just bugger off and they don't know where they are. But if they put habitat pods out, they come and hang out around them, and that helps them get them on camera and monitor them. So we're super happy when people want to use things that we've come up with for different purposes. So that's been great. And then we have a second product in the works, which we're really excited about. We're about to hit go on production. So we're making a version of our habitat pods that will be a biodegradable, wildlife attracting tree guard. So instead of those terrible plastic tree guards that you see on lots of restoration plantings that you're meant to go back and collect, but most people probably don't, and are hugely contributing to pollution in the environment and the ocean, get rid of those. Let's do biodegradable ones. They're made of natural cardboard, no glues or staples or anything. You just fold them into shape, much like the habitat pods. They're double walled. They've got nooks and crevices and crannies for little critters to come and hang out. So everything from little bugs to skinks, small mammals and birds. And then as they biodegrade, they're going to turn into a nice thick layer of mulch and trap moisture and support those trees and hopefully increase survival. So that's our next product offering, and we've got other things in the works too. So eventually we imagine a full menu of sort of biodegradable products for wildlife conservation and restoration projects. So yeah, I'm away.
You have, and I mean, it's such a testament to you as a founder as well, and I'm always so impressed with the founders that we have on at Hatch. But that sounds incredible, that product, and almost surprising that no one's thought of that already. It seems like such a need, so well done for filling that gap.
Thanks, Christy. That seems to happen a lot. I'm like, surely someone has done this.
Yeah. They're not brave enough like you. Right. So I guess you've undergone the Hatch program, and now it's 12 months in your founder journey. What has been the biggest lesson you've learned and has really kind of served you well with the rollout of Rehabitat?
Yeah, I think it's what I touched on before a little bit, which is that you might think there's like this one path and there's one way that you're set on and how your life's going to go and how you envision that you'll make change in the world or make an impact. But actually a little shift in perspective can completely change things in the space of 12 months, 2 years. I'm in such a different place to where I was, and the possibilities seem endless, and I have this newfound belief that I can actually make things happen. And if you've got an idea out there, you too can go and make it happen. So don't be shy, sign up for things like Hatch and give it a go.
Thank you. And we're not paying her to say that, by the way. Alex, best of luck for the next 12 months and beyond. And we're so excited to see your progress. And stay tuned on our Hatch channels to find out more about what Alex gets up to and our other founders. So I'm going to hand over to Jess now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Christy and Alex. It is now time for us to close the People's Choice Award voting. You've got 10 seconds left. 9, 8. Okay, it's finished. So in a moment, you're going to hear from the Hatch judging panel and find out who the winners of the Hatch Grant and People's Choice Award is. So voting is closed. And so I'm going to just keep moving things along. We're going to hand over to Cam Kerr. Please come up. Where is he? Oh, he's right there. Come on, Cam. Well, as we decide on that, well, let's just move that along then, shall we? So I'll introduce the judges. Well, you know, we could come up. Why don't we both introduce the judges? Come on, okay. So, you know, judging is a hard job. It's a really hard job. They've been here all day, am I correct? Exercising their judgment in a very appropriate fashion. And they basically decide who gets the coin. So please join me in welcoming Andy Marks, my friend, overall legend, climate change and sustainability leader. Please take your seat. Andy Marks. Thank you very much. John Preston, advertising professional and philanthropist. And might I just remark, we have some fantastic hair on the judging panel today. Alexandra Holcomb, founding sponsor of Hatch. Oh, absolutely, Alexandria. Angel investor and experienced business executive. Lucy Turnbull, legend, urbanist, businesswoman and philanthropist. So what actually happened earlier today is that all of the teams had to deliver a live pitch to our eminent judges. Then they got grilled with a furious and I'm sure a very stressful Q&A. The judges then reviewed all of the project plans and the ventures for the next 12 months. So no mean feat. So thank you for being so judgy today. It's a difficult decision. And so from here, we're going to hear a little bit of your feedback on each of the projects and then by judge for each project. And at the very end, the eminent and fabulous Cameron Kerr will announce the Hatch Grant winner. Andy, you're first.
Hello. Maybe I'll... Okay. So we have the easy bit, right, by far and away. And before I talk about Whoop Whoop and Zero Tag, I just want to talk to all of the founders for a brief moment and say what a privilege it's been today to hear your stories and your ambitions. It's been so inspiring. I mean that from the bottom of my heart, and I reflect that for the judges as well. I want to share a little saying which is a favourite of mine, and that is, I believe that if you reach for the top of the tree, you get to the first branch. But if you reach for the stars, you get to the top of the tree. And it's a lovely saying. It's by a British poet called Len Sissay. I believe that all the founders are reaching for the stars to create a better future, I'm sure of it. And we need you, so thank you very much for your commitment and your efforts. So first off, I'm going to talk about Whoop Whoop for nature. Elisa. It's such an important time for your work. Your experience and your insights into farmers is compelling. And that you've got I don't think you mentioned it, but the cool cows test is very exciting, that if you can demonstrate a 17% increase in productivity for dairy farmers, that really is something very significant for them. It's a really key time in terms of the landscape that you're operating in with things like the Task Force on Nature-Related Financial Disclosures, nature positive becoming a thing, the nature repair market, and so on. So, you know, it's a really great time for you to be doing what you're doing, but also there are a great many complexities in how you're operating and what you need to try and do. But you're a bridge, you're a connection point, you're a joining point, and therefore you're reducing complexity. And I think the judges felt that might be something you could articulate a little bit more clearly, is that you are reducing complexities, and that's really needed. So we also believe you are in the right place at the right time, for sure, and that you're going to reach the top of the tree.
All right, so then on to Zero Tag and Joseph, Shimroth and Felix. Zero Tag is, I think with this term, wicked problem, grasping nettles. You're doing that. I was going to say it's a thorny nettle. It's that prickly to try and do. It's a wicked problem. You're trying to shake up grocery distribution and packaging in Australia. And I think we're all aware in our daily experiences that price and convenience triumph, unfortunately, over everything. And there's some dominant retailers and they restrict innovation. And you're trying to break through that. And that's a mighty challenge. And we admire you for it. And also being a one-stop shop, potentially a one-stop hub for refill brands is a really great proposition. Very, very compelling. And also I think you told us that you just signed up a coffee brand coffee distributor. And that got us talking amongst the judges about actually maybe there's an opportunity for you to help people connect on a much more localized basis with local retailers and actually help people support those local retailers and see how you can create models that are on a very localized scale but highly replicable, and therefore there'll be more value in the kept and locked into the community, and that would be a competitive edge over the big retailers that you're competing against. So that might be something you want to think about, but I think we'd also keep on reaching for the stars, you guys, and you're a really fantastic team. So thank you.
As one of the judges, I heartily endorse what Andy just said. Now, our fellow judge, Alex Holcomb, was not with us today because she was being a real jury member in a real live criminal trial. So she wasn't able to be with us today, but she shared her views with us in written form, which was really enormously helpful. That's why she won't be speaking directly tonight. But anyway, she was as involved as we were. Oh, cool, great, excellent. Okay, so my job is to talk briefly about the certification for photovoltaic panels in Australia, which is an inspiring idea, and it's an idea whose time has come. It is a desperately needed solution to waste generated by the renewable energy industry, in particular solar panels, and the certification process is a great initiative. So well done thinking it up, and it's good to know that it's very much, its origin is in Dubbo, where of course there is a fellow zoo. Taronga Zoo has a site in Dubbo, but it's in the middle of the Arana Res, and you're working closely with Dubbo Council and ASIN. So that's a great expression of an example of, I guess, regional New South Wales vigour and Australian in the region's vigour and enthusiasm and capability and know-how. So that's a really exciting idea. We would encourage you to think about partnering with other renewable energy councils and industry groups like the Clean Energy Council, and particular, think about adopting the model that the Green Building Council developed probably about 15 years ago. It was actually founded by a good friend of mine. She was the original CEO, I'm sure Jess knows her too, and everybody else in this room, Maria Atkinson. And it was kind of like a baby, a progeny of the property industry. And they started the Green Building Council with a really, an important mandate to certify the sustainability of buildings using a certification process. But it's also a revenue stream because it's so closely connected with the Property Council. It certifies buildings, and if you're a developer about to build something, you have to get it certified by the Green Building Council, so you get a revenue stream. So it's kind of a neat solution to how you have a certification and you get some revenue at the same time, so you keep going. But I wish you all the best for a brilliant future, but do work with allies and industry groups. They are fundamental to, I guess, making the leap from the Arana Res, the Dubbo region, across Australia, and then from there, of course, the world. So that's what we would encourage you to do. And because it's really important, another thing we want to mention was that the life of solar panels is about, give or take, 25 years. Of course, there are some that are imminently about to retire, so there's an imminent problem, but there's a long-term problem. So for a developer building a solar farm right now, they need, they're expecting their solar farm to last for 25 years. And the question is, how do you deliver the assurances they give you at the outset in 25 years when the ownership may have changed and everything? So I'd encourage you to think of some solutions for that. But it is a brilliant idea. It has to happen, and you can be leaders, but we encourage you to work collaboratively. Okay? So it was great. The other one that I was asked to comment on was the groundswell collective of the tiny forest. Now, being an urbanist myself, I just love this so much because you live your lives in or around Lake Macquarie, which is pretty much a peri-urban area confronted with huge amounts of habitat loss and biodiversity loss. It reminds me a lot of Western Sydney when I was the Chief Commissioner of the Greater Cities Commission, whatever it changed its name all the time, I forget. That's being in government, so fun. Anyway, so there is a huge challenge in places like Western Sydney and peri-urban areas right around Australia, and you have a really beautifully simple but clear solution which creates natural habitat and environments with all the benefit that delivers in terms of biodiversity, but you also have this way of delivering social connectivity through schools and communities. And we can see your model being adapted for, you're working principally with schools now, and that's perfect because kids can learn and get involved and understand what biodiversity is and what it means, and they can get very friendly with the little bugs and animals. And at the same time, you can leap to being a service provider, which could of course be revenue positive, to local government. Maybe not the City of Sydney because that's very dense, and finding an empty tennis court in the City of Sydney is not a mean feat. But in golf courses, of course, I forgot about golf courses. But sort of if you can deliver those tiny forests in greenfield developments, which are can be the most depressing outcome in terms of heat generation, biodiversity loss, and actually amenity loss for the people who live there because there is no tree canopy there, and therefore there's no biodiversity, etc. So if you can solve that problem for local government, but also I can see the greenfield developers actually being persuaded, if your model is trialled and proven at a local government level, where you actually provide services which should be value accretive to you. I know you're a not-for-profit, but it can work, it can be a solution for them, because as much as I love local government, sometimes it takes designers working for local government about 50 years to come up with a plan which is approved. If you have a scalable, modular plan which you can attach to create wildlife corridors, that is a win for everyone. So it's a brilliant idea. Thank you.
Oops. Just a quick backstory on my involvement with Hatch to put in context why I'm here today. May last year, I was invited to be one of the pitch practice practitioners, I guess, and I worked with Johnny Timms, and I had such an amazing experience. I thought through my foundation, which I know Cam is a tongue twister, it's Auxilium, which is Latin for help or assist, and it's 100% focused on helping the environment. So it struck me doing that in May last year that I should actually donate to a no-brainer operation such as Hatch. So I'm really privileged to be here as a judge, and it's been an amazing experience working with you guys, but seeing the work that you founders have put in is just phenomenal, and the team behind making all that happen has been amazing. So let me talk about the medical pantry team. Look, I think your experience and your understanding of managing logistics is exemplary in that kind of medical human waste that we get, or human medical waste, I should say. And you've created a fantastic operation, and to then twist and pivot into animal care is just wonderful. I think you're helping such a critical group in the community, and we talked about the lack of funding they get, and they're on the breadline effectively themselves, and they're putting their heart and soul into caring for these animals. So what you bring is a great support mechanism, at the same time saving wildlife, which is highly commendable.
Just to give you some, and the audience, some information about some of the questions that we talked about and where we think we could help you in the future. Just needed a little bit more detail on how you were going to get that corporate sponsorship. It's such a critical element to your business. And when is that going to arrive to help you with that runway of investment that will then turn your business over time? And it's a bit of a chicken and egg situation until you get the sponsorship person on board to get you there. But just a little bit more engagement on that would have been tremendous. And we felt that, and I'll touch on this in a bit more detail in a minute, just investigate more about what opportunities exist in the marketplace. We talked a lot about maybe being a bit more proactive with organizations like Wires, who have amazing funding and actually, frankly, and often don't know where to distribute those funds. So rather than waiting for grants to come available, get out there and actually share this pitch. It's phenomenal and it's very compelling. So I recommend you do that, or we recommend you do that. Other considerations, thoughts, we talked about as a group of judges, perhaps a tech platform that would add more substance to your business, that will shorten the lead times between your carers and the supplies, probably reducing the amount of warehouse space that you might need because that was such a big cost center. And then overall, really to conduct a full landscape analysis of wildlife protection as a whole. Done a great job on carers, but just unpeeling the layers of the wildlife sector and really interrogating what exists out there might throw up more opportunities like Wise. So, and the last bit we all felt was amazing that you have incredible, compelling stories that you're going to create by virtue of seeing how these carers are turning your operation into practice and realities and saving animals' lives. That could create so much wonderful social currency that you don't necessarily have to focus on corporate sponsors, but actually use that social currency to generate donations from mums and dads, and also through crowdfunding. So think about capturing those stories as you go through your growth and those case studies, which will be phenomenal PR for you. So I hope that helps, and good luck with your success in the future. Alice, the last one to be talked about. I think you've got, where are you, Lisa? I can't see you. Sorry, Alice. Look, you've got a lovely idea and a platform that really makes it easy to turn a cash donation into a pledge, which is so much more fulfilling. So we love that currency. It gives a way for people to actually contribute to the environment where often we're struggling with, what can I do as an individual? Well, here's a platform that I can sign up for and get involved in. And it also creates communities and the hope of striving to do better for the climate. I'm really pleased that you're pursuing the extension of your charity registration and looking for DGR certification. It's a pain to do, but eventually it will pay in dividends because it will make it so much easier for the corporate donors to come on board. Look, it's a great idea, and you also showed a sustainable revenue model that you actually showed great insights into how the trajectory of all your goals could be achieved. It was a really sound business plan, and you actually did the best job at convincing about your scalability, so well done there. We love the behaviour change piece. It's very interesting, moving people from dollar to lazy dollar donations, really, to a pledge, and creating community networks around that, which is really fulfilling. And it in turn creates peer pressure for people to fulfill the pledges. However, we did feel that whilst you're making it super easy to make a pledge, the tracking of whether that pledge was genuinely fulfilled and not left to peer pressure and trust was something that we felt we could consider adding to your model. And really, look, there's a lot of notes here, but I'll just sum it up by just trying to close the loop of getting whoever's made the pledge, and I know you're talking through email communications to nudge them along, but really drive them to an aspect of your website that actually ticks a box to say, I've done it, and then you can track what that outcome is in terms of a metric. So really, in summary, you've created a powerful community builder and use that community, but also a mechanism to create a great model for nudge economics. So well done. All right, David. Lucky laugh.
I certainly wasn't going to waste an opportunity. You brought me up to the front. I'm going to say something. It is true. I was on jury. I'm on a jury. I'm in court at the moment. So not only am I judgy, I'm witnessing a lot of judginess going on. Christy actually gave me some homework. So I had the privilege of spending a lot of alone time over the weekend, going through the amazing pitch decks, the videos, all of the proposals. And so I did miss the opportunity of kind of hashing that out with my fellow judges. But I did typically submit my submissions and my rankings, et cetera. So that obviously got incorporated into all of that. This is my 4th year doing this, and I think what I wanted to say kind of in general and in summary is it really is an inspiring group of people that are willing to put themselves out there, and I'm talking about over the last 4 years, to put an idea forward, pause their lives to really focus on the planet. And it really is inspiring. And this latest crop of hatchlings or batch or whatever, flock or whatever we're doing, was really, really incredible. And I think it gets better and better as we gain momentum, on the Hatch initiative. So it is a real privilege to be a sponsor, but also to be involved, from a judging perspective. The advice I would give, and following those that win and those that don't, and I've taken an interest in them, is the first thing is believe in yourselves and don't give up. It is really amazing, and change makers are sitting in this room, and it really is inspirational to all of us. And so believe in yourselves and don't give up. The second thing, which Alex touched on, was be open-minded and prepared to pivot. Maybe the audience isn't retail, it's corporate. Maybe the audience isn't government, it's individuals. Maybe it's something else. But be open-minded and keep that keep your mind open to the opportunities. The third thing is network like crazy. Just sitting in this room, we've got people on video, whether it's for your supply chain, whether it's for donors, sponsors, really, really work those networks. And again, believe in yourselves and put yourselves out there. And the last thing I would say is, aside from, thank you for being who you are and being willing to put yourselves out there, but it's to take feedback. And I think the judges were very, forthcoming today with feedback. Listen for that feedback. Take feedback from every source you can get it from. And that will enable you to really learn and grow and move on to really kind of scale your opportunities. So I just wanted to say thanks again for including me and having me along, and to my fellow judges. And so now I'll hand over to Cameron, who is definitely ready to jump out of his seat.
From Alex, and I think there's a couple of points to be made at this point. One, the value and experience in the room from our judging panel, and we got a sense of that tonight. Taronga could never afford to hire the consultancy fees of these the life experience of these people, for them to donate their time and the research time that goes into it. The mentors, the same, the huge body of knowledge there. I think we all feel privileged to get exposed to everything that you've offered, your intellectual experience and life experience that you've given there. The panel of judges today had such a hard job. People always say that, but I think the inspiring thing for me was to see the level of homework that all the judges had put in, the personal reading, the thought, the research that they did beforehand, listening to each other and their perspectives was really, really powerful for me to see and hear. I can advocate as sort of the adjudicator. There was no passing of grey paper bags or brown paper bags around today. It was all very transparent, very clear on the whiteboard. Great debate. It wasn't a fait accompli. There wasn't one that just jumped out straight away. There was really good debate amongst the panel. And I think in the end, what we ended up with was an understanding of all those pictures being really powerful and really good. So to reiterate what was said, congratulations to every finalist. For you to get where you are today is very powerful, and that should give you confidence to go forward. The second thing I would like to say is Taronga is here for you. Just after tonight, you don't walk away. You have our networks, you have all the Taronga staff here to call on at any time. Alex can attest to that, and others. We are here for you. We absolutely see the power of the people, and you are the ones that are doing that for it. So with no further ado, I think is the right word, I will pull out Hatch Grant recipient, da-da-da-da, and we'll pull this over. See that the two line up. They do. Here we go. Anna and Mark, the Groundswell Collective, please come down. All right, over to you, Jess, for the People's Awards. And I think Alex is coming down too.
Yes, Alex, join me. Yes, yes.
Other Alex.
Oh,
Yep,
the other
Alex.
Oh,
Yeah.
you can both come. Like, we can be inclusive. Okay, all right. This is fantastic. Okay. Alex, it's all you, my friend.
Oh, I get to even announce it?
Yes.
Oh, stressful. Okay. I felt such anxiety sitting there waiting for that. That's so great. Congratulations, Anna. All right. The People's Choice recipient is dun, 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 Medical Pantry. Much better at this than I am.
I'm like Adriana Kennedy. Remember her? You jump in, yeah. Fabulous. One more round of applause. Okay, well now this is the end of the official 2024 Hatch Pitch event. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for showing up. They say that fortune favours the brave. That is absolute rubbish. Fortune favours those who bother to show up. And honestly, you're all here. No doubt there will be a conversation. You've seen something, it sparks a conversation, it sparks an opportunity. My brain's always going, oh my God, council maintenance schedules. Oh, come on, guys. Leave Lake Macquarie and, come over our way. But on a serious note, I'd just like to say thank you so much for everybody for being here. Thank you to the donors. Thank you for the judges. Thank you for inviting me to participate. It's been an absolute joy and delight. Thank you to Christy and your team. What an absolute champion. Paul, Cam, you know, if there are any jobs going at Taronga, like, my daughter wants one first, so I suppose, yeah, make way. And also, finally, congratulations to all the teams. I know how difficult this stuff is. Like, it's work, and you don't know if you're going to pull it off. You don't know if you're going to get the prize. Rejection sucks. Failure can hurt. And as Alex said, being open to criticism and growth is inevitably the only way that you're going to get better. So biggest good on you guys for just giving it a shot. And as the other Alex said earlier before, we often have these moments where we go, well, surely somebody's already thought about of that. Surely it already exists. No, not until you do it. So, you know, if it doesn't exist and someone's thought about it, like, it's you. You are the solution. So on that note, let's see how many, schmoozies we can do in a very short time. It's been a delight to be here. Thanks again, and get home safely.